giving us the welcoming remarks. As I indicated, it is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and E-Crime has partnered with IIA Ghana to have this webinar. By the way, my name is Harriet Piatakari. I'm your host for this webinar. We have Mr. Joseph Kokwe, and he is the lead for cybersecurity at the E-Crime Bureau. And I'm sure most of us know Philip Deborah. He's also been a very key person in E-Crime Bureau, collaborating with the Institute on so many platforms. And we are happy to have both of you join this webinar and to educate us on what we need to be aware of so that we can also share with our colleagues and our cronies so that we'll be able to move our workplace, our nation forward. So without much ado, I would like to hand over to Mr. Joseph Kokwe, who is going to take us through this webinar. With a virtual clap, let's welcome Mr. Joseph Kokwe.
Okay, good afternoon. Madam Harriet, thank you for the introduction. Please, can you hear me, and am I audible?
Yes, you are very much audible.
All right, so I would do a very quick video show, like this, so that you can see who is behind the voice, right? By way of all of us knowing each other. Now, this is a very short webinar session. So what that means is typically I would have asked us to introduce ourselves. We will not do that. What we'll do is that we'll know ourselves as we are doing, as we are delivering, right? And on that basis, I want to use the opportunity to share my screen, right? And I would ask you to confirm if you do see my screen. Confirm, and if you have any challenges, let me know. Give me a few seconds. All right, so this is just a quick test. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. All right, so the screen is about to go off because we will start off with a little exercise. In this exercise, so take your pens and papers. We are going to do something. Because of the subject, Joseph, your hand is up. Do you have a question?
Please go on, Joe. Go ahead. It's okay.
Okay, it's fine. All right, so what I was saying was that before we start, in the interest in the subject matter we are about to discuss, I have a little exercise for us. It's a very simple exercise. Take a pen and a paper, and then we do this exercise together. If you finish, you can actually give me your feedback via the chat room. All of it is acceptable, right? Let me give you the guidelines of the exercise. I am going to share certain images with you. And on these images, I'll be cycling them one by one. On these images, your job is simple. Your job is to let me know whether you think the image is authentic or you think that the image may have been tampered with. And for that reason, it is unoriginal, either through some interference or something of that nature, right? So very simple exercise. Let's run through the images. So the slides will go down for a few seconds, I think a minute or two, then we go through the images, right? Let's do that. All right, so I'm about to just share, and like I said, the rules are simple. Basically, let me know if you think this image is legitimate or you think that there may be some foul play here, and then we move on from there. That is basically the exercise, and let us share. Image number 1. This is image number 1. So it's very simple. You have your whether you're using a notepad or whether you are typing virtually. This is image number 1. Let me know if this image is authentic, legitimate. It's actually of people that we know or we may know, or it's of a location, or you think it is unoriginal, right? There may be some some tempering here or there. This is the image, right? This is the image. All right. So I'm about to move on to image number 2. I'm about to move on to image number 2. I'm about to move on to image number 2. All right, I see your answer. So please, I will not, since I'm moving through multiple images, if you do not state, right? If you do not state the image you are referring to, if I move on to the next image, I will not know what you are talking about, right? So image number 2, you have to state the image. So image 1, not original, just like Peter Mensah said, Peter Mensah has done, right? Okay, so we are going to move on to image number 2, right? Let's prepare for that. This is image number 2. This is image number 2, right? This is image number 2. You can state the image number and then proceed. State the image number and then proceed. Image number in your comments and then proceed, right? You are going through a total of 5 images, right? You're going through a total of 5 images. So this is image number 2. We were on image number 1. You are going to image number 2, right? Some of you are just skeptical people. I'm sure that if you got a chance, you say nothing is original here. It's fine, right? No problem. State what you think, right? We'll come back to this, right? Now we are moving to image number 3. Get ready. We are moving to image number 3. All right.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
There is feedback from someone's mic. I think, yeah, it's resolved. So, but Jesse Battles, I have not even loaded image number 3. How do you know it's original or not? How did you get the answer? Jesse Battles, you can activate your mic. I'm very much interested in that. Unless you can read my mind, and I'm not sure. This is image number 3. This is image number 3. This is image number 3. Image number 3, make your comment. Let's move. We have 2 more to go, right? So that's image number 3. Make your comments. Let's go. Image number 3, let's move. Image number 3, let's move. Image number 3, let's move. We are moving to image number 4. We are moving to image number 4. Okay, we are moving to image number 4. So image number 3, I have your answers. Thank you very much. We are going to image number 4. This is image number 4. This is image number 4. Okay, this is image number 4. I was about to comment on image number 4. I caught myself before I slipped. So that's image number 4, image number 4, image number 4. We're about to proceed to the final image and then we are done, right? We're about to proceed to the final image and then we are done. So that's image number 4. And that is done. And now we shall proceed to the 5th image. And that will be the end of our images. We proceed to the 5th image, and that will be the end of our images. Jemima Odote says she's having terrible feedback. This feedback, Madam Jemima, if you can let us know, Madam Jemima, what is the issue? Is it from just your side? Are other people having issues? Okay, so it's very good that we verify if others are having a similar issue. Okay, Madam Jemima, is anyone having difficulty listening? I mean, hearing in on what I'm saying or seeing what we are seeing, like what you are showing?
It is likely to be from her end.
Yeah, okay. I was also suspecting similar. I was suspecting similar. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've run through 5 images. You've run through 5 images. Sharon has, made it quite, interesting, has listed all her images and what her answers were. She says image 2, 3 original, 4 edited, 5 original. So, a few things. And on that, we come to the end of this exercise, right? This is the basis for which we start today's session. And so I will take the time now to go through all the images. I won't go through all the images. I'll just give you the commentary on them. Images 1, 2, images 3, and images 4 are all artificial intelligence generated. None of those images in these images was or is a platform called Midjourney. This is a platform that was used to generate the images, and I'm showing you on my screen, right? So this is Midjourney. With Midjourney, what one can do is to basically generate specific prompts describing things that they want to see, and the platform generates images that look like that prompt. 1 to 4 were all generated with Midjourney. So all the human elements you saw in there, the actions they were doing, and everything that you saw, of which you chose your answers, original, not original, not original, all of it are unoriginal. These are artificial intelligence images generated. The people do not exist, and it is composed of different data that has been built over time to generate these images. I'm very happy we did this because I think it lets us understand the import of the subject matter we are talking about. As we are talking about misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation, right? And it doesn't get any more practical than this. So, as a way of preparing our minds going into this session, this is what I wanted us to think around. And hopefully, at the end of this session, we'll look at some of the platforms and some of the things that are there that can let us avoid some of these issues and some of these intentional ways in which information can be represented. Now, you realize that everything I'm talking about, I have focused on the images 1 to 4, right? I've not touched on the 5th image. And what is the 5th image? Well, the 5th image was the image of, what appeared to be the president of the republic within some galamsey or some mining area, right? So I'm going to go back to that image again so that we pick a few lessons from there. Let me go ahead and share my screen as I go back for that image. So this is the image I saw, and it passed the originality test for most of us. So let's see something. If I flip backwards, you get to see the original image. This is the original image, which has been an element of the human beings inside has been taken out and has been superimposed into another setting. So you wake up in the morning, you see a news article, and the article says the president has approved that small-scale miners and galamseyers can operate in full scale till next year. and there's this image attached, and before you realized, and before you start thinking about it, this is being shared. People are commenting, people are making all kinds of posts. It's viral, it is spreading. This is what I want us to appreciate as internal auditors going into a session like this. I want you to appreciate the fact that we are within certain times and periods in the history of this world where the concept of what you see is not always now what you see is they say seeing is believing. That has changed. And this does not apply to just images, it applies to videos, it applies to content, it applies to auditors are going to work with information, it applies to financial data, it applies to, and then you have IT audits. So it will apply to the systems, the logs, all these things you have come to trust. What I'm telling you right now is I want you to disabuse your mind that seeing is believing, heading into a session like this and heading into the future. And the point of this is to discuss ways and means in which we can improve and define certain resources that will help us combat what it is we are dealing with. So I'm going to end here and officially start today's session. This was a teaser into what we're about to do, and hopefully we can discuss this matter in brief, at length, and then see ways and means in which we can prevent and deal with the concept of misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation, right? Let me project my screen and then let's proceed. All right, so I would ask you if you can see my screen. Is it showing yet? Is my screen showing yet? If it's not, just give me a heads up.
Not.
It's not yet, right? Okay, let's do this again.
We can see now.
Are you seeing a presentation that says misinformation, disinformation,
Yeah.
and the title? Okay, all right. So if you are seeing that, then we are all on the same page. So the concept here is we are going to look at misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation in the digital space. And the target audience is obviously the Institute of Internal Auditors, and then most of us who are stakeholders within this field, right? Members and stakeholders and the public alike. Gifty is saying that she cannot hear. Well, Gifty, please, I don't know, you are the first person we are getting this from. So if you can log out, log back in, see if that helps, that would be cool, right? Frigga, Amanda says, how do you uncover the original from the edited? So, that's what we are hoping to do, right? In a session like this, to see if you can find certain platforms that can help us, especially in this era that we find ourselves. So the content, what we're going through is basically an introduction of what we are dealing with and the definitions, right, of what's this misinformation, disinformation. At the end of the day, for me, I was, before a session like this and educating myself further, I was calling everything fake news. But there are levels to it, right? There are different sections to these things, and it helps to appreciate what each and every one of them means. So we look at the definitions around these things we are talking about, the key differences, right? And then we'll look at how to identify these things, right? General strategies for identifying these things. Then we'll look at the impact on organizations, what this can have on us, and the role of internal auditors in all of this. And digital tools for misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. So now, we are obviously having this meeting even in the digital setting. Normally, we would have done it in person, right? But in the digital platform, that's where we are mostly operating, most of us. So how can we leverage the digital platforms that are available for identifying some of these things? And then lastly, look at the auditor's risk assessment framework. The kind of frameworks that you need to possibly integrate if you're not already having them. And if you have them, maybe perhaps improve upon them in order to conduct risk in the line of all of these things we are talking about. So that is basically going to be the outline of what we're doing today, right? Again, my name is Joseph, and hopefully we can have a good session today. There are some other aspects of the outline that are, quite detailed. Look, we'll touch on all of these things, and hopefully we will end with a Q&A session, right? So, this aspect talks about the fact that, so we'll begin by talking about the fact that obviously information that is false or not original, okay, it's a problem in the current world. And most importantly, the fact that we are auditors, and auditors deal with information, okay, be it a data set from a system that is in terms of IT audit, or information in terms of financial records and whatnot, of which we go through. At the end of the day, we deal with information. Now, if we are talking about the concept that this information can be falsified, right, then it's a very big issue for us. And that's the basis for which we are studying, of which we illustrated with the things we did. So the key points to note here is that, look, if you are talking about information that can be false, okay, if misinformation, for example, can cause mistakes in audit reports, disinformation is meant to deceive. And for that reason, it can alter the findings of your reports. And malinformation can harm reputations even when true. So I'm using these words up and down. What do they mean, right? So when you talk about misinformation, you're talking about a situation whereby false information, right, that did not have the intention to harm or mislead. It is inaccurate data, the source believed to be true. So in this case, when you're talking about misinformation, someone has information, right, that is false, but the person does not know it is false. Okay, so the person does not know it is false. The person may share this information, right, to other people who would latch onto it and spread it. But at the end of the day, the information or the entire information was false, but the person did not know. And that's what we mean by misinformation in this scenario, or misinformation by definition, right? Everything I'm mentioning there, the sources are available for you to also verify, right? The second one is disinformation. Disinformation here, the intent changes the whole thing. In this case, disinformation is when the information can be false, and in this case, the person who is spreading or sharing that information knows it is false, but for some intended, intended result, they share it all the same. And for all of these things we are talking about, we will see case studies of them. And hopefully by the end of this session, we'll be able to differentiate between what and what and what. Now let's come to malinformation. Malinformation, which I believe the mal is for bad information. It's information that is true, but is used maliciously. So in this case, it's not that the information that is being shared is false. No, the information is true. However, the way and manner in which it is being used, okay, either through exaggeration, okay, or either through some other means, the information is made to appear more than what it truly is. And in the end, it may end up misleading or causing harm. Okay. So I'm going to share an example. Okay. This story is something that went around for a bit. And I want you to know, or I want you to tell me based on what you see in the definitions here, where, like, what this thing falls under. Okay. Apologies, I had to switch internet service provider very briefly, right? That is why the network went down, or that's why the screen went off. Kindly give me a second. I'll be right back, please.
So just in case you've joined and you're wondering, our resource person is switching networks. He should be with us soon.
Hello, team. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, Joe, you're audible. You can go on.
Yes, I can
All
hear
right.
you.
So, sorry about that. Had a bit of a glitch, so we are good now. I'm going to share an image. It's sensitive, but I just want to, I've bled out important bit anyway, so nothing issues. So, this image, right? So this image is an image that there was a point in time it was circulating. And what was the story around this image? The image said that the two ladies in the frame are the same. And the story around this was that a man had intentionally, for money rituals, taken the sister and put her inside a septic tank as part of ritual initiation and all of that. And she was recovered about a year or some few months later in the next state, which is the second state, right? And this picture started, running around and whatnot. Turns out that someone basically went to get an image of a model, who's the lady on the left. She's called Adelaide. And there was another separate story of which this lady is, the lady on the right is someone who was, when they were doing the construction of a new gutter, right? She emerged out of the place that they were digging and doing the excavation to do the construction. Apparently, she had been homeless and had been staying there for a while. So someone took these two stories, two different things, put it together, and pushed out the story that there was a man that, chose to do this to her sister for money rituals. Now, my question to you is, and I'm going to project the screen for which you can tell me, right? You can tell me what this falls under. My question to you is, in this situation, if you analyze it based on the fact I have given you, right, does it fall under misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation? Now, to make it short, I've presented a slide that summarizes this information here, right? What do you think this falls under? And I'm interested in your opinion on that in the chat or either in audio. I just want to hear what you say. So just to be clear, misinformation, disinformation. Yeah. Hello?
Disinformation.
You believe it's misinformation? Can you give me your logic to that? Why?
Information, disinformation.
It's disinformation.
Yes.
Okay, disinformation. And what is the reason and why is it not misinformation?
It's not misinformation because the person it is not intentional, but it is disinformation because it is intentional. The person knows that whatever he is doing is false, but is just trying to still disseminate the information deliberately. And he also knows that it is a lie, but he's just putting it across. Unlike misinformation, which is also false information, but it is not the intention to mislead. But in this case, the person intends to mislead. That is why it is disinformation.
So, okay, that's your logic for why is disinformation. Thank you very much. So the deliberate attempt here to mislead, for what that reason you think it is disinformation, that is fine. So I'm going through the answers on the chat, and I see Priscilla saying that it's malinformation. Which malinformation then would be, and it will be information that is based on reality, but it is used to inflict harm on a person, organization, or country. So the malinformation, there's always an element of truth to it. However, the way the truth is presented in a way that is meant for intentions that can cause harm or can cause damage. So, Priscilla, do you still think that is malinformation in this situation? So, disinformation, Joseph is saying that the story was a lie. At the same time, the person perpetuating the story had the full knowledge that it was false or a lie. And for that reason, he believes this is a disinformation. And I see from the answers, most of you are choosing disinformation, and that is correct. So, Priscilla, in this situation, let's look at the information that we are talking about here. The information itself is false. And on that basis alone, it cannot be malinformation, because malinformation will have the information being true to some extent, right? However, the way and manner in which it is used is something else. So you hear sometimes that it is on the radio, and then there are these interviews, and then maybe Joy FM or any of the media houses will put it out there. Then the original person will come and say, they misquoted me. That's not what I said. There's a full context to it. That is when you are dealing with malinformation. When there's an element of truth, but it's used sometimes in a different way. So this one we are dealing with is a clear case of disinformation. So my question then is now, if this article that was flying, it came to any of you, your group, it came to your group, right? It came to your group, or let's say a WhatsApp group or a social media platform, and then you forwarded it. So in this case, Christian Alija, right? You forwarded this to, because you saw the article, and then you forwarded it to maybe your group. You said that right now the world people are becoming wicked, right? And you push this information, right? What category would this be? Would this still be disinformation? Would it be misinformation? Or do you think it's malinformation? That's what I'm asking you, Christian. Christian Alija. I'm sure I got the name right? Christian, can you hear me? Hello, Christian. Okay, you know what? I'll just jump on to Mami Araba Esanwa, right? In a situation where I push this, okay, to my group to advise them on the kind of issues that are happening. For that reason, they need to be careful who they hang out with and all of that. Then what would that be? Mami Araba, are you hearing me?
Yeah, so I actually dropped it in the chat. It's
Yeah, sure.
misinformation because the person disseminating it believes it to be true.
A person sharing it believes it to be true. And I believe that that may be the scenario for most Ghanaian people when it comes to this particular line of things, right? The line of false information that we deal with, which a lot of people do share things thinking it's true, but it's not. So let's go a step further, right? Identify misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. The general best practices. Now, we'll go through certain things that are based on strategy. Then what I'll do is that at the end of this session, I will introduce you to certain technical terms and analysis you can do to pick out some of this information and know what you are dealing with. Whether it's legit, whether it is something that may be falsified, all of these things I will share with you as well. Okay, so let's look at identifying misinformation. The first one is identify misinformation. So misinformation then will be about the person sharing it believes to be true, but the information is false. So the first is to look out for errors. The second is to assess the intent. And then the third is to cross-check with trusted sources. So look for errors, assess the intent, cross-check with trusted sources. So look for errors is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, that one checks itself out. When we are talking about assess the intent, what does that mean? Intent here would mean that what is being shared with you, what effect does it have on you? Or what intention does it seem to invoke in you? So is this information something that is exciting your sensibilities and your fear, your panic, what intent is the information being shared? The third will be cross-check with trusted sources, which we'll be looking at in a bit. When I'm talking about identifying this information, this one, there's a person is very deliberate about sharing information that is wrong. The point here is, one, examine the source. The second is look for patterns of deception. The patterns of deception would be that someone who is hell-bent on representing something that is false in a manner that is seeking to trick people, that behavior will be consistent in the entire presentation that they give you. What do I mean by that? Starting from even the website or the source or wherever they are putting the information, most of the time you find out that they may be wrong, right? From the very onset. So there are elements of falseness that are throughout the entire thing. The name the person presents or the entity presents that information in could be false even from the start. And then check for emotional manipulation. Now, again, after this, I would want us to do a very quick exercise on some ways in which we validate some of these things. Check for emotional manipulation. Now, let's look at malinformation. So the malinformation, because there's an element of truth inside, it's always best to consider the context. The context here is that this statement that is being said, okay, that has been presented to you, is there a context to it? Was there a larger discussion that was had under which this was presented? If it is a finding relating to audit activities, right? In what context was this finding provided? So is it that you go do your audit investigations and whatnot and do your processes, right? And in doing that, okay, you are presented with certain evidence. And this evidence has been presented to you, right? In what context is it being presented, right? Is it that, okay, we had some kind of issue with the system, and for that reason, we are providing you this evidence? The context always is important to understanding these things, okay? Consider the intent to harm. So intention also comes in here. So when you're getting information, what is the intent of it? What effect is it having on you? And then watch out for personal or confidential details. To sell, most of the time, for more information to be able to be effective, you will find that there's an element of which that they need to sell something that is true. So for these three things, let's look at some clear examples in the IT space, right, that reflects them. Now, I'll pause and then I'll project my screen and I'll be doing certain things within my browser, right, for which we can be able to add some kind of practical feel to these examples they are given, right? Let's start.
Hello, please let's be patient whilst we wait for our facilitator. I'm sure he'll be back shortly. This is Ghana for you.
Facilitator has not left. Facilitator is simply switching his screen so that they can see my web browser. Okay. So that's what's happening. Thank you very much for coming in. Now I'm pasting a link inside your chat, right? Kindly go through it. We will be visiting it together because that's what I'm going to be doing on my screen, right? Now, in this particular scenario that we're looking at, that will be inside the chat. What is happening is kindly confirm when you receive the link. Chat.
Yo.
Hello, please, can you see the link?
Yes, please. But your namesake's hand is up, Joseph. So
yeah, Joseph, please go ahead.
Yeah, Joe, you can assure us that it is safe to click through the link, right?
No, it's not safe. I am trying to misinform you.
Okay.
Say, I'm kidding. It's safe, okay? Right. So team, what you are going to see, right, is not actually the link is not for myself. And it's a good question he asked. What is he doing? He's applying everything that we are talking about here. We are talking about in all the cases of whether it is misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation. One of the things that run through in all of this is verification, right? Verifying what it is, the source of where you are getting information from. Verifying the source of what you are getting information from. So in him asking this question, I expect this practice to be something that becomes a part of us as auditors. I am telling you to click a link. Yes, in the capacity of me being in this class, I'm a facilitator. But I could also have everyone, no one is out of the context or no one is out of the target when it comes to being a proponent of fake information, be it misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation. So he's every right to verify what he's saying, verifying what I'm saying. So the link I pasted there is basically going to take you to a page that is developed by Google, right? They call it the Google phishing quiz. And basically, it is more like a site that is meant to learn and practice when it comes to awareness in the realm of email security. But from what we are talking about, right? When it comes to information that can be false, I want us to visit this. You can visit on your phone if you want, but I'll visit it here. And you can provide any dummy details. These details you provide there, they are only meant to make the simulation exercise believable. Now, we are presented with an email. In fact, the truth is that this email that has been sent to us, it is possible that the email may be malicious. Malicious in the sense that this email that is sent to us, be it a link you click or be it some things that you do, it may be possible that if you click these things, it would lead you to a page that may end up stealing your credentials or your details in a form of a phishing attack, right? Or doing something worse. What I want us to do is this exercise. We are doing it together. They are asking us, is this email that we received, is it legitimate or is it not? I'll walk you through 3 of these. Then at the end of this, my point is to let you know about the kind of skills and what it means to verify sources when you are dealing with digital channels. In this case, the digital channel under consideration is email addresses. It's email addresses or emails that come in, right? So we received an email and it says, is this a phishing email or is this a legitimate email? Now, visit the link and then do your own analysis. But let's see. And this one, I would appreciate, volunteers. This email that we are looking at, right? Just by viewing what it is I can see on my screen, do you believe this is a phishing email or is it a legitimate email that I can receive within my inbox? Is anything off here? If you want to guide me in any procedures I can use to verify the authenticity of this, please, I am open to it. I am basically a robot in your hand. Tell me what to do to verify this, and then we can choose the correct answer. I will take any opinions. There's nothing that is wrong. Everything is accepted. I want to hear what you have to say when it comes to this particular email. Okay. So the link has been received. Yes, you can also visit it. You can put in some dummy details. You can inspect it up close on your own machine, right? Tell me what you think. So what are some of the things you do when you are dealing with an email like this? Okay, how do you verify the source? How do you verify this? So that you know whether you are dealing with correct information or this information is something that we can't trust. I'm interested in your approach. What do we do? Now, being a short webinar session, right? Being a short webinar session, one of the things that we ought to do in verification of information in digital channels is that when we receive images, we receive emails, or we receive any information that has links associated with them, one of the things we can do is to hover the mouse. Again, I'm not saying click, I'm saying hover. That means move the mouse simply on those links or things that are clickable, right? So the things that are clickable, we see one that is here, right? Which is some budget for 2024, or in this case, 2025 that we have to edit. When I hover the mouse over it, one of the things that become very clear is at the bottom of the screen. And that's what happens when you hover. When you hover a mouse on any link, it tells you the true destination of that link. Now I've done this exercise. Can someone use or tell me why, by virtue of doing this alone, I know that I am not dealing with the correct email? Can someone tell me why? Peter Mensah, I know that you click the link, right? On my screen, I'm hovering the mouse on what I'm supposed to click, right? As a way of verifying what I'm dealing with. And I've seen something that I think that, this email is not legitimate. What am I seeing? Can you tell me, Peter? Or Dorothy Osu, can you help me with that? Madam Catherine, I'll be interested.
I want to help more. Okay.
Daniel, did you say something? Can you repeat that?
I was just trying to say I want to comment about it.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
Yes, for you to know it is not the right email, when you hover the mouse, it's not giving you any pop-up. You know, the mouse reveals details about it, or at least if it is a hyperlink, if it is a link, it gives you the link, it pops up. And moreover, to the way it's been formed to, you do not see any better description under it. That is the knowledge I have.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for that. Right. Thank you, sir. Someone is also pointing out, Samuel is telling me that if when I put the mouse on the link, it is telling me that this resource has been shared to me that is supposed to go to Google Drive. However, if you pay attention to it, the link, it is pointing to drive-google.com. And if you want to actually visit the Google Drive, this is actually Google Drive's URL or the domain, which is this, drive.google.com, as compared to what it was pasting there, which is when I hover, it says drive-google.com. So one of the things in terms of verification in this small exercise is the hovering thing we talked about. But most importantly, it lets you appreciate that. To appreciate what is the original from the fake, it helps to know what the original is. Because if you are not someone who is familiar with the fact that if you visit Google Drive, OneDrive, or whatnot, and this is the original domain, it is very likely for you to click it. Now, this will say it's not legitimate. If you want to learn from this perspective, you can choose an answer and click Show Me. Show Me then will now walk you through some of the things you should have looked out for when it comes to verifying information. A channel like this. Now we are on a second one. I said I was doing 3 with you, but because of time, I'll do 2 with you. In this second one, I am not hovering over anything, right? I am just presenting the email to you as it is. It says you have received Coca-Cola Answer and Win brand new portable blender and juicer, right? This is the email you've received. You can go ahead and click and then receive your nice blender. From looking at this email, can someone tell me how you can verify, even from a visual perspective, whether we are dealing with a legitimate thing or we are dealing with something that can be malicious? Information that we cannot trust. If you have your answers and you want to state that, okay. Thank you. So I'm seeing the answers from Rima, from Mami Araba, I'm seeing from Jemima as well, and from Daniel. And what they are telling us is that the very email address that we are dealing with here, it's something that is problematic. If we are going by the image is saying that we are receiving a portable blender and juicer as part of a Coca-Cola promotion. Coca-Cola as a company, you would expect that Coca-Cola as a company, they should have their own domain. If not, there should be coca-cola.com, of which they are operating from. Why is Coca-Cola sending us an email that is coming from this unreadable email address? So right from the onset, the email is suspicious. So verification number 2, we move on to the sender of that particular email we are dealing with. And out of which we realize that this may not be legitimate. So I'll choose not legitimate. It says we are correct, and it tells us, yes, the sender was a key component in determining this. Also, the link in which now, let's amp things up a bit. Now we've come to PayPal, right? We've come to a PayPal screen, which is for payment and invoicing, right? Are we dealing with a legitimate? Now, please, I know we're all learning and I've already sent you the link, but don't go and then do it ahead of me and give me the answers, right? Please, let's be as organic as possible, right? Is this legitimate email coming relating to some kind of invoicing, or it is fake? And what is your determiner? Now you know about links, you know about the sender email address. Now you are presented with this. Are those two enough to analyze this, or there is more to it? So the question goes to the class again, right? is this legitimate, or we are dealing with something that is skills would you use to determine what? If you don't believe, I would do it. So, I mean, is it still email address? If you believe it's still email address, you can point me there. I would check it for you. Is it still email address or something else? So Catherine is asking me a question, right? Catherine, and I think it's a very important question. She says, do I have any business with PayPal? Do I have any business with PayPal? And the answer to that question is that yes, the business in this situation, if I'm going with this case study, yes, I have business with PayPal. So you have seen the three elements: sender, URLs. Now let's pay attention to the actual content of this email. It says, here's your invoice. Billing department sent you an invoice of $600. Due on receipt. It goes, let's look at the details. Invoice details, amount requested 600. Note from seller. This is evidence. So someone is pointing out something. Peter is saying that there's no invoice number. I agree with you, Peter. Something suspicious here. There is evidence that your PayPal account has been accessed unlawfully. $600 has been debited from your account for an e-gift card purchase. This transaction will appear in your PayPal activity within 24 hours. If you do not recognize this transaction, immediately contact us toll-free on this. We are available 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time, and invoice number. Okay, so the invoice number is below. It says 1031. Okay, so someone said I should zoom in. I've zoomed in for you. Jemima, is it clear now? Right, I've zoomed in a bit so you can see, right? And the invoice number is below. And if you say view and pay, right? If you say view and pay, and you click on it, if I look at the details and the link that comes below, it actually leads to paypal.com. So is this legitimate or not? This is where we start entering into the field of malinformation. And malinformation is very powerful. Powerful in the sense that it has enough truth to bring you on board, but there is an element of something that can be added in and it can twist the whole thing. So if you look at this email, so Rima is saying PayPal wouldn't address you with your email address. Well, sometimes they address me, but what you are mentioning, the wisdom I can get from Rima out of that is that you can also study the patterns of an organization to determine when they are going out of touch, right? And when you are dealing with something fake. So that's the wisdom I get there. Now, I have questions for you. My questions are, if you read this, if you click the link, everything is pointing to PayPal. So this phone number that is there, is it from PayPal? So in this situation that we are dealing with, the truth and the matter of the matter is everything about this, it looks like it's legitimate. The email is coming from PayPal. The content look and the designs, everything look like PayPal. However, you will find that the trick here that they have done is that they have introduced a phone number. So the criminals are doing what we call spoofing. And what is spoofing? For those of us who are on this call, I will show you what spoofing is. Spoofing is when you are able to impersonate the identity of anyone on a digital channel. So I'm on this site, it's spoofbox and for just education. With this, what it means is that I can spoof an email. And when I'm spoofing an email, it means I can create an email to come from anybody and from any email address, and people would actually receive it. So what we are dealing with here is a case of a spoof email, which is coming from service@paypal.com, but it may not be from them. But the most important giveaway here is that it is not the simple analysis that will let you get this out. Are paying attention to verifying the source. Hence, what they run is a misdirection or malinformation. Everything else seems right. However, the phone number that is here, for which you are going to call them to resolve this your situation, is the criminal's phone number. So you have all the right information of PayPal, but you have been fake. Okay, so it says this message has a false sense of emergency And then the fishers are hoping that you call this number. You call this number so that they can build their actual scam on you. This is how it is in the digital space. You can run through these exercises by yourself, right? To determine what you are able to figure out by yourself without anyone assisting you. But basically, this is to let you know some of the techniques that come with verifying the sources when it comes to information that you receive. Now, I want to use the opportunity to also introduce you to two more sources you can consider when you are dealing with information in digital platforms that may not be legitimate and how you verify this information. I've stopped sharing my screen. I'm about to go to the slide very briefly, touch on a few things, and then we'll come back to the sources again, right? But we picked up three things: verify the sender of the email, verify links that are clickable, right? And the third one, look at the context of the message that is being sent, right? And verify every single information within that body of the email. In this case, the phone number was not associated with PayPal at all. All right. So we did an examination of the sources from the perspective of an IT environment where you are receiving emails that you need to verify. In the second session that I'll break into my web browser, what I'll show you is that when you start getting information that pertain to websites, especially now from a social perspective, Ghana is heading into elections, and you should be expecting a mixture of these misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation, right? But we are speaking to auditors. So in this case, what I'm talking about, or the example I'll be giving then will be about when you receive information that is coming from a source, a website, some kind of URL and whatnot. How do you verify these things and what is the logic behind it? Keep that in mind. We'll come back to that in a bit. But when it comes to the impact of misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation, it can cause financial loss. And when I say it can cause financial loss, it is really an example of, when you are dealing with information that was not legitimate, right, you can end up making certain mistakes that can cost your entire organization. And on that, I have a little, I won't call it a present, but I have a little test for you. There's an email that I want to present to you. This email was received by one of the banks from their clients, right? They had to transfer some money. And on that, I want you to look at it and tell me, from this inspection of the email alone, right? Tell me whether the email is, the emails you're about to look at, they are legitimate, as in they are the same or that they are different. It's a very simple exercise, right, that we are doing here. And this is just to let you know that when it comes to these things we are talking about, there's an actual impact that organizations can feel. They can actually feel, they can actually suffer financial losses. There can be cases whereby these things can disrupt the operations of the entire organization, right? And these have real effect on the organization, right? And then there are cases whereby, this misinformation, disinformation can lead people to, the reputation of the organization can suffer greatly as a result of these things. So I'm presenting something to you, and in your case, it's very simple. Like, just let me know whether what we are looking at, this information that we are looking at, there are two emails that are the same or they are different. It's very a simple exercise, right? Kindly give me a second whilst I adjust that, please. All right. Okay, team, are you able to see my screen? I have shared the emails for comparison. I've shared the emails for comparison. Can you kindly confirm if you see my screen, please?
No.
Are you seeing it?
Yeah, it's in now.
And you have to know that what I'm sharing with you, I've made it very, very easy for you to identify what I'm talking about, right? But can you confirm if these emails are the same or they are different? are the same. Are we dealing with the same email? Because both of them have to do with financial information, right? They are asking a financial transaction to be carried out. And Michael, what you can talk.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Please, I believe they are different. If you look at, oh, please, your screen went out. But then the first one has .com, but
Yes.
the second one has .com. That's what I see, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michael. I believe that anyone who inspected that mail, right, had a similar look, right? A similar look when it comes to what you're talking about. So if you look at this platform, if you look at what I shared, right? Yes, there are two transactions. And you'll find that if you are overly focused on the content of the look of it, you will think that they all look the same because they are all addressed similarly. But the email address in this case, as you pointed out before, is showing something different, whereby one ends with the con, one ends with a com. Now, in a situation like this, imagine in a financial institution or institution that you work with, someone sends instructions that appear with the one that with the con, right? The person who receives this information received it on their mobile device. And you know, a mobile device already, sometimes the screen is not as big as your desktops. Even on your desktops, you may see this email and the long trail of it, you may not read the entire thing and you fall for it. This situation can lead to transactions that are being made, right? And people can, like companies can suffer as a result of these things. And these things are not just things that I'm stating based on the class and then the demonstrations you are doing. These are things that have actually affected and impacted organizations, right? So yes, the .com was the decider here. And in this case, it's an example of some of the things that information that is misrepresented in some ways can lead to financial transactions, because in what you observed is part of a larger attack called the business email compromise. And they target organizations with things like this that look deceptive, right? And organizations fall victim to it. Now, because I gave this example, I want to show you this website, right? Again, we are all learning, right? So one of the websites I want to show you is a website that companies can use, okay, organizations or individuals can use to possibly preempt these kind of things from happening, whereby you are presented with certain similar lookalike domains that are being used to engage your financial institutions or engage institutions thinking they are real, only as a means of trapping you to take certain financial decisions or risk. So kindly watch my screen as we look at this platform, right? This platform is DNS Twister, right? And the site is dnstwister.reports. And what this site does is that if you have a domain, for example, let's say cowbank.net, and that is the name of your institution, it goes around the internet to find other people who have registered a similar domain or the same domain to your organization. Now, some of these may be legitimate because you named the organization and this domain cowbank.net. They were not there when you were naming them. So you can't quite blame them that they all have their own institution that has similar names. However, you can also be malicious. Malicious in the sense that some people would have been gone to register a domain that looks alike to yours, right? And be able to send emails from this domain targeting either your organization, your specific department, right. One of the things that I know organizations do to avoid any kind of false information and schemes, right? Fraud schemes built around it, is that normally when they register a domain, right, they do their best to register the ones that look like them. So that even if the organization is not using that, they prevent criminals from using these for different kinds of scams, like the one you saw where you put identified.com and then.com. The simple fact of the matter is that if you look at what someone has registered, this is bank.net is legitimate. Look at what someone has registered, c.al.net. And best believe that they are doing some of these things to your own website and things of that nature too as well.